Today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN, but more about them later.
Hi everybody and welcome to the Saturday Surface Interval in association with Mpora. So have we already done a 5 things you shouldn't do after a dive video? Yes we have. You can actually watch it here if you want to, but that was a Friday feature. We don't do those here anymore. This is a Saturday Surface Interval. So if you've been following the channel for any length of time, then you're probably aware that there are a few things that you shouldn't do straight after a scuba dive, like jump on an aeroplane, or take a deep tissue massage, or jump into a sauna, because these things can all accelerate your decompression, which is a bad thing. Now, there are plenty of things that are obvious that you shouldn't do straight after a dive, like rob a bank, commit felony tax evasion, or try to wear a flat cap backwards, because only Samuel L. Jackson can pull that look off, nobody else. So don't even try it. But there are a few things that shouldn't be done after a scuba dive that are beneficial, not only for yourself, but for other divers and your health and safety as well. So let's take a look at 5 things that you shouldn't do after a dive. One of the worst things that you can do straight after a dive when you get back onto the boat is to get lazy. If you just got back on the boat, you've sat down, you've slipped seductively out of your BCD, and you've dropped your weight belt to the floor, then your work is not complete. The first thing is that there may still be divers in the water that might need your help. So I tend to keep my mask and fins to hand so that, if the worst should happen, somebody is ready and looking out to the water to jump in should anybody need any help. If you're not rescue diver trained, then do be careful obviously, and don't just jump headfirst into a situation that you can't honestly help with, but it is best at least to be ready and looking out to the water if other divers are still in the water, because you might see something that somebody else hasn't. It's also bad just to leave your gear strewn all over the deck, because no one else is going to be particularly careful with putting your gear away. And again, should the worst happen, it's far easier for everybody to get things done properly if there aren't weight belts on the deck to trip over. And the poor deckhand who ends up clearing your stuff up isn't going to know whose stuff is whose in particular, so they're just going to put it wherever's most convenient. So trying to find your stuff afterwards can be tricky. Try and keep your stuff tidy and think ahead to the next thing. If there's another dive planned that day, then swap that tank over and check that the new one is full. The last thing you want to do is rush things at the last minute before the second dive whilst everyone else is ready and just sweating away in their wetsuit waiting for you. So don't do it. I was on a rib once after a dive helping divers out of the water when one guy surfaces at the boat just grabbing onto the rib with everything he's got, and he's yelling at the boat handler to help him out because he's surfaced with 0 bar in his tank, so he can't inflate his BCD, and he's expecting the boat handler to sort out this problem for him and just yells at him because he's not doing it fast enough or as well as expected. But first of all, that's a problem that you've put yourself in. Breathing your tank completely dry and forgetting to orally inflate your BCD or drop your weights. That's kind of a you problem. We got him and his gear all out of the water and all was fine, but do you think yelling at someone is going to encourage them to help you out later or go that extra mile for you after you've berated them? The crew and the skipper are usually great people, and it's best to stay on their good side, because so what if you're paying them? That doesn't mean that you can just shout at them. Granted, in the heat of the moment, this guy was probably panicking, so wasn't in the best frame of mind, but don't yell obscenities at someone that's already trying to help you out. Just be civil.
Being safe and secure online is more important than ever, with more and more companies wanting to get a hold of your information and sell it to the highest bidder. This is where ExpressVPN comes to the rescue. They have over 3,000 servers in 160 locations spanning over 94 countries, and this list is growing day by day to help protect your online identity. Their VPN works on Mac, Windows, Windows, ISO, Android, and even routers. ExpressVPN even works with Netflix to help stream your media contents. So say you're a massive Office fan and you live in the US, you can't access that show on Netflix. Well, using ExpressVPN, you can connect to Netflix in the UK, which has The Office, as of recording, so you can binge watch that for the millionth time. For our viewers as well, you can get an extra 3 months free when signing up to a 12-month package by clicking the link pinned in the comments. So if you want to stay safe on the internet and watch your favorite streaming shows, then you should really consider ExpressVPN. Okay, back to the video.
Scuba diving is amazing. We all love it, that's why we're here, and it's how I basically got into scuba diving and turned it into a career. I was on a dive, and in my sort of inner monologue inside my head, I thought to myself, this is great, I'd be happy doing this as a career. But I think too many people think of scuba diving as an easy career that they can just kind of fall into and just kind of have some fun, and that's about it. And granted, it can be a fun career, but you can't just become a scuba diving instructor and find work and just live the easy life. It's not that easy. Things don't happen that easy. If you don't put in any effort, it's like any other career path. It will just spit you out and you won't get very far. You need to treat scuba diving as you would any other career. You need to spend some serious me time thinking about all of the ins and outs and your actual career path if you want to become an instructor, because if you do it correctly, you can be a very successful dive instructor, but you have to put the effort in and consider it as a real career. Too many people don't see scuba diving as a real job. So if you're on a dive and you have a great time and you think in your head to yourself, yeah, I could do this as a job, then you better be ready to back that up 100%, because a lot of new instructors don't last very long in this industry because they just can't commit, and it's not really what they thought. It's not all fun, chilled out, swimming in tropical waters. It's just like a lot of other jobs with paperwork and overtime. Like with a lot of new instructors, some divers just stop diving, and some, like the last time you played with your childhood best friend from primary school, end their final dive without even knowing it was their last time. It's sad. But looking at the numbers, there are peaks and troughs of what ages people are diving. It's pretty flat for the first 10 years because kids can't scuba dive, but then the numbers start to increase around the teens, and then they just plunge down in the 20s and 30s because people are wasting their scuba diving money on houses and kids and stuff. And then the numbers start to creep back up in the mid-30s and then naturally dip after the 50s because, well, people are like light bulbs, and they shine very brightly when they're brand new, but if they shine a lot over their lifetime, then they start to wear out and they get tired, and then the light bulb eventually stops working. We need to find a way to keep divers diving, because too many, especially in that 20s to 30-year-old bracket, just stop diving and move on to other things, or they just get bored of diving for whatever reason. But there are so many avenues to explore. Now, I'm not expecting everybody to take up tech diving or cave diving or rebreathers or whatever, but it would be great for more divers to just keep diving a bit longer, even if they only go like once or twice a year, because we're an amazing community and quite unique in what we do compared to a lot of other hobbies. So it would be nice if we could get those people back into diving. People who have a cert card and they can scuba dive, they just don't. On the dive and after the dive, if you have a weird feeling or sensation, then just mention it to somebody. Decompression illness can manifest in a variety of different ways, and the sooner it can be treated, the better. You see it in all times in movies when someone covers up that zombie bite or ignores an injury. Does it ever work out well for them? No, it usually gets worse, and it's only much later when someone else notices a sign that something actually gets done, but by then, it's too late and Tommy's become a zombie. Best case scenario, that little tingling sensation that you can feel is just because you've sat down checking your messages on your phone for too long, but it is worth mentioning it so that others can know about it at least, and hopefully get something done early if it does get worse, because they might be better at diagnosing actual problems than you, and they can ask the right questions because they know them. If you missed a safety stop because you didn't understand your dive computer, what it was trying to tell you, but everybody else was going up so you thought it was fine, just remember that your dive profile was probably different to theirs, and dive computers, they aren't 100% accurate for every single diver. So if you feel something or if you see something on another diver, then do your best to say something. So hopefully they have given you some things to think about. Most of it is just do as a prudent person would and think about what you could be doing that's better for you, other divers, and the crew. If you are thinking about a career in scuba diving, then don't let me put you off. But I do promise you that it's not all palm trees and mojitos like the adverts suggest. You have to work for those mojitos. But what else should you not do after a dive? Let us know down in the comments below, and maybe you'll be featured in a part 2 video. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.